Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast. This is Friday Fun Day version with Sambassador, your host. And I am honored today to be coming to you from Western Kentucky I'm at Graceland headquarters with Wes Titus and Ashley. I want to call you Nicole because that's what your Facebook says. But Ashley Broom Hardison. I heard you say that yesterday in the airport, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, Nicole. That's probably not her last name. So I've always called you Ashley Nicole because when we talk on Facebook, that's what always shows up. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to have y'all here. It is so good to be here with you guys. Shannon's a little bit jealous. He's been after Graceland for a while to do an interview, and I'm the one that snuck in and got it. So, take that. Shannon, actually, his shed journey started with Graceland. He's talked about that numerous times, and I think it's a pretty cool story. Last night when we were eating dinner, we were talking about prison ministry and stuff, and I think it was it Brad that brought up, oh, yeah, you guys do some prison ministry stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's the way Shannon knew about you guys. So we have some history there. Part of my history with Graceland goes all the way back to when I first got back into sheds so I've been in sheds my whole life. Most people know that. You guys might not know that. But when the housing industry crashed in 2008, I was building houses. And I said, you know what? Instead of having $300,000 customers, it'd be kind of nice to go back to $3,000 customers. Those $3,000 customers are like $7,000, $10,000 customers now. But anyway, my only competition in town was Graceland. A good friend of mine, Marvin Koblentz, had opened up a shop there. Some of the guys that have been here long enough, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah,
you probably do.
I remember that
Yeah,
name.
you probably remember him. Now he's out west somewhere. He's still in the shed business. Doing good, and his son out there with him. Shout out to them. But anyway, I felt like that was kind of who I was competing against when I started there. That was back when all of your sheds were T111, and we couldn't get y'all to paint a shed. So I did. So I said, you know what? They're selling T111 sheds. I'm going to do metal sheds. So I sold metal sheds for about 2 years. For a couple brands down there. Bennett and Robin were both big brands in our area. And painted sheds hadn't really even become a thing yet. I mean, you did it occasionally. I actually even painted a couple Graceland sheds for guys. You know, they're like, hey, would you paint a shed? Sure, I'll paint it, Always wonder if I go back and look at them, I wonder what they look like. Painting T111, that's got to be interesting. But the main reason that I like to talk about the history with Graceland is because when Jason did the first bash out in Montana, Graceland was the host. The guys out there had a manufacturing place going, and I really don't know who Jason talked to, but you guys came on board and not only hosted it, but one of the sponsors of it, and that's kind of where the whole bash journey started, was at that place. And then you guys showed up in North Carolina. We had a good time there, didn't we?
We did.
Oh,
That was
we
excellent.
did.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let y'all take it away a little bit. I want to know, who you are, what you do. You can take turns, or you can both walk on top of each other. It doesn't matter. And how did your journey end up to where you end up, being at the bash, Ashley?
Oh, goodness. All right. So where'd I come from? I got my shed journey started with Cook. Of course, you and I talked about that a couple days ago. And I had taken a little bit of a hiatus from work and found a job listing on Indeed and applied for it for customer service. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, I have a very heavy customer service background. I've been in hotel management, stuff like that. So customer service I'm great at. I can handle customers on the phone, I got this. And so I get there, my first week at work at Cook, my trainer, Megan, she's like, so, all right, we asked for pictures of buildings, and this is wood rot, and this is delamination, and this is this. I'm like, hold the phone. What
What kind of customer service are you in?
I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. What did I get myself into here? And it didn't take long. I settled in and really, truly fell in love with just the repair department. And then started working with moves at Cook and working with Fleet. And then got into the sales side. So I had a 5-year career at Cook. And then they were bought out by Leonard. And so I've been through about before whenever I worked in advertising many moons ago.
Okay.
And so I had a little bit of experience with mergers, and they're not all bad. So I'm not going to say that that was going to be bad or anything, but I just didn't want to necessarily go through the transition again, and not really knowing what that was going to lead into, knowing where I wanted to go with a career that I was absolutely in love with, didn't want to do anything else. And so just so happened to Google portable buildings and like in the area. Had no idea Graceland was in Western Kentucky. No clue. Had heard of them, but had no clue they were here. And I think there was a listing on Indeed. It all starts with Indeed. And
I was going to say, we should get Indeed to sponsor me.
So I applied on Indeed, and Jennifer called me, I think, the next day or 2 days later. Matter of fact, I applied to work for Melissa Sprouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Customer service.
Yes, and I actually interviewed with her first.
So the Jennifer that I've got to know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So I interviewed for a sales support manager position first.
That's not what you're doing.
No.
This is typical shed life. We never do what we're supposed to do.
Exactly. It always evolves into a little something else, which is neat.
And I had experience in both. But I interviewed with Melissa first, and then, but I dual applied, so I had applied for the dispatch position as well.
Okay.
So interview with Melissa on Monday.
You kind of ran through that fast.
Sorry.
You dual applied.
Yeah. So I applied.
So you're not just ambitious enough to apply for a job.
Oh, no,
you're going to
I have
apply
for like 10. I mean,
there's a nugget there. Sometimes I have guys that are like, or guys. So when I use the term guys, it's like anybody, people
Loosely
that
used, I get
are
it.
guys and gals they're like, hey, well, we talk about it. The economy that we're in right now, people. I hear people say they can't get a job, and I'm like, well. Have you tried it? Like, where are you looking?
Right.
Did you try it? Did you this, that? I'm glad you brought up Indeed, because Indeed is it's a thing now. I mean, you can go on Indeed and you can find jobs and you can put your resume in and you get, but the key to what you said there that stuck out to me is you dual applied at the same place.
yes,
I
did.
That's good. Anyway, carry on.
The portable building business, it was like, so I loved what I did before I got into the dispatch and hauling side of things, before I ever crawled into a truck, before I had fallen in love with it. But then once I got into the transportation side of things, my love just blossomed. And at that point, I knew I didn't want to do anything else.
So you actually like that side. You're not just doing it.
No, I genuinely love what I do. I don't work every day because I love what I do. And I have for 7.5 years. So I feel very fortunate.
What's the cliche statement that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life?
I never work a day in my life. I love it.
Just don't tell the person signing your check that you're not working.
There's
a little thing. There's a little thing about a budget that comes in kind of handy.
Mike might actually be kind of happy that I feel like I'm
bills
not
to
working.
pay, so
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So I do applied sales support manager, and interviewed for that on a Monday, and then I had my interview in logistics on a Tuesday. And matter of fact, I told Carlos and Jen that I had applied with Melissa.
That's amazing.
And they said, so Jennifer's like, so if I can't remember how she brought it up, but essentially it's like, well, if you put yourself over here and you put yourself over here, where would you be? And I said, I wouldn't be over here or over here. I'm the one who's right in the middle. I kind of do it all. It's like, so that's what I'm about. And Carlos is like, so which you like better? Of course.
Like he's not going to take it in the middle.
Yeah. And I was like, honestly, I really like logistics. And so here we are. And I'm a numbers person in a really weird way. Like I look for signs from God in everything that I do. And so it was like a week after I got hired here. And I'm like, we have the same P.O. box as Cook. It's P.O. Box 642. because I was like brokenhearted that I was leaving Cook. I'm like, I'm not ever gonna love what I do and the work family and the environment. You know, I was just like, you know, all
There's
in
a
my
lesson
feels
coming
and
here.
so and so I got here and I was like, P.O. Box 642. Huh. What are the odds?
That's pretty good.
That's a God thing. And then, grew into it and the culture and people, and it's just a wonderful place to work. So as far as like you and I talking about future, I'm here. This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah. It's been cool to me. How many of you guys getting to meet some of you? Okay, so I run into Graceland guys here and there. I can't remember them. I mean, I got so many people.
We're everywhere.
I'm on overload the last while, but most of the people that I find are here. Even talking with Greg, he's here.
He's here.
He's here present and he's here future. There's something to be said for leadership that creates buy-in. And I always, you know, we can talk about employee issues, structure issues, but we always say leadership. It starts at the top and flows down. And I've gathered that being here that you guys actually like being here.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
certainly.
Yeah. So we want to hear from him for a second. Or?
Absolutely. Take it away.
Yeah. How do you end up here?
Well, so the journey here to Graceland and in sheds in general, I got to talk to you just a little bit, but expound upon it. You know, I believe it's you know, God led me here. It's He opened doors. So I moved to Western Kentucky from Florida in 2004, and so I had gotten a associate's degree in architecture and construction, and had moved up to Western Kentucky. Had family up in this area.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine worked for Dirksen Portables over there in Hickory, and there was an opening to come over there and work the yard and run a pilot truck in the mornings to go across and block off the Caro Bridge there in
All right.
Whitcliffe.
Get to
Just
for
throw
the
you-
drivers.
Throw you to the wolves right out of the gate.
Yeah, just make everybody's morning so great
So
and happy.
anybody
coming
out there looking for a really good pilot car blocker? I know where there's one that might need a
He's
brush up
pretty
course.
seasoned.
Yeah, that's been a few years ago. That's been a while. And so
2004.
2005, I think, is when I started. But I moved to Western Kentucky in
Dude,
04.
that's coming
but,
up. That's coming up on 20 years.
That is, isn't that? I mean, 20 years. That's what I say. Almost 20 years in the shed industry.
Wow.
And I say, give me 25 more.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
We're not going anywhere.
no. Like I say, we're sheds are in our blood.
So sorry
but-
I interrupted
yeah.
you. So you went to work for
you're great.
Dirksen.
Yeah, went to work over there. Worked unloading trucks, working in the yard, running the pilot trucks over there, and that worked into getting my own builder bay, and so I built buildings for them for about 3 years while I went to Murray State University working on my degree in accounting. And so we were nearing graduation time, and that was back in 2009. I was going to graduate in December of 2009. And so this is, September, October, here I am, wondering, okay, where's it going to lead, now? And so I was talking to the head of the accounting department over at Murray State, and he knew of a couple Murray State alums that were working for an accounting firm in Paducah. And so he had called them and just set up a little meet and greet. They weren't even really hiring at the time, but just, they were Murray State alums.
Yeah.
Here's a guy getting ready to graduate Murray State. So they, they set up the meet and greet. And so I went over to them and got to, spend an afternoon over there and talk with them and everything. And good time. But as far as I knew, that was it. Well, it turns out that accounting firm was actually the firm that prepared taxes and did bookkeeping work and things like that for Graceland.
No way.
And
Yeah.
Graceland was looking for an accountant at the time to come on. And so that accounting firm sent my resume over to Charlie Smith at the time. He was here. He's been retired for a little while now, but sent my resume over to him. I'm out there building buildings one night. I went to school full time, worked full time, so it's 8 o'clock at night. I'm out there building
I was
buildings.
just thinking about this. So you're still working at Dirk's and building sheds.
Yeah, I'm still building sheds.
Yeah.
Still going to Murray State. I hadn't graduated yet.
Yeah.
And so it was, 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm out there, putting a shed together, and my phone rings. And it was Charlie from Graceland saying, "Hey, I got your resume. I'd like you. We're applying. We're interviewing accountants to come in for a staff accountant position. Would you want to come in for an interview?" And he says, "With Graceland." I said, "Sure, I'll come in." I said, "Where you at?" "Cunningham, Kentucky." "I don't know where that is. I live in Cunningham."
No way.
And so this is back in
Unreal.
2009. And lo and behold, I come in, interview, accept an accounting position. Started in November of 2009 here at Graceland. Didn't graduate Murray State till December. So, Lord blessed and helped me get my first job before I even graduated.
Before you even graduated.
Yeah.
And then, through time here, almost 15 years in, I went from staff accountant. I worked as the controller, corporate controller for Graceland for years and years, and then worked into. I was working with special projects and development and things like that. Then jumped into logistics, director of logistics role for a couple years.
Yeah. The fun side.
The dark side.
The fun side.
The
fun side. The fun side.
The fiesta side, not the siesta.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely a fiesta because it's always something.
That's a private lunch joke.
Well, I say the dark side because Mike always tells me that I'm absolutely out of my mind crazy because I love transportation and logistics so much.
I get that.
I'm like, well, you have to be a little kooky to enjoy
You
what we
do.
do. But
Yeah, it's every day's a new adventure. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're never going to face 2 days the same in
So
logistics.
you got out of the dark side. Introducing the Challenger, the revolutionary new shed mover that's taking the industry by storm. The Challenger features a touchless design, ensuring it only makes contact at the end of the skids and the bottom of the floor joists, so rest easy knowing your gable walls will remain pristine. Worried about reliability? Fear not, the Challenger is always up for the challenge and will not overturn or scuff your shed. Harness the power of innovative wireless technology. Remotely control the Challenger via your smartphone. No cell service needed. And guess what? The cell phone remote comes standard with every Challenger at no extra cost. Featuring floating forks, a 4-directional tilting mast, and sliding weight transfer, move the shed weight precisely where you need it to get ultimate traction. With self-loading capability, straight onto your truck, say goodbye to the need for a hydraulic carriage. The Challenger makes your job easy and more efficient. Choose from 2 machine sizes, 10,000 pounds and 15,000 pounds. Perfect for any job. Visit www.shedchallenger.com or email us at info@shedchallenger.com or call or text 828-220-3508 for more information. Experience the future of shed moving with the Challenger.
Well, it led me into the position I'm at now, which is vice president of operations. And so, I've been on the finance side. I've built buildings. I've been in logistics. And so now I'm senior vice president of operations here at Graceland. And, like I said, 15 years in and no plans on stopping.
So tell me what a day in y'all's life looks like. Like you come in the morning, you drink coffee. That's a good start.
Oh yeah, coffee gets you going.
Yeah. So what does a VP of operations? What does that look like?
So a lot of the VP of operations is planning and strategizing and working with from the Greg the CEO and Mike the COO to RSMs out in the field of where business is developing. Okay. Do we have, so on the operation side, what kind of driver support, what kind of, manufacturing support and strategizing. So there's, on an average day, there's different meetings to collaborate all that and make sure, we have all that in line. Plus we're working with the teams to, resolve whatever comes up throughout the day. You know, like I say, there's always something new that might pop up, whether it's at a manufacturing facility or driver company. And of course, working with Ashley as director of transportation and just all the different, ones inside the operations side.
So I basically look at the shed industry, as there's a manufacturing, there's a sales and a hauling, and then we obviously have the rent to own and the, pickups on the other two sides. You're basically involved with all of that.
Exactly.
Operations in any of it, whatever it takes on all of that to pull together. You're more on the pickup side. Is that what I kind of gathered?
Yep, a little bit of both. So I work a lot with Wes and our other VPs, as far as on the transportation side with independent partners. And if we have a need in any particular area, I'll do some recruiting and bring those guys over to Graceland and then work with them and kind of establish with Graceland, and then they go and work more with the field. But I'm also director of asset recovery. So we do have a corporate fleet team, and that's...
So you applied for dual jobs and got dual jobs.
Yeah, I was
just not the one you wanted. No, you got the one you wanted, but
I love both of them. Yeah, it was whenever my movement here with Graceland was very swift. We'll call it.
Okay.
I was hired as a dispatcher, but was quickly promoted to corporate dispatch manager within like 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then was a year later, I suppose. More of a lateral transition, but was then moved into the independent, like recruiter type of talent acquisition. And then less than a year later, was promoted to director. So 3 promotions within less than 2 years. But the more I got into independent and working with the independent teams, because like Cook was all corporate.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Cook has all their own drivers, which you guys are partially corporate.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we can get into that right now. I was going to get into it sooner or later. All of us haulers know that you guys have a corporate hauler side and you have an independent hauler side. Who's the poor, unlucky person that gets to hold that together? Dealing with, is that you or is that
that's a culmination
Chad
of kind of like, I guess, me and Chris and Wes.
Yeah, Chris.
And,
I called him Chad. Oops, he's never going to forgive me. I told y'all I'm terrible with names.
Hey, well, there's also a
First
Brad.
letter
You got
was
Chris
right.
and
Oh, I did. Yeah, I put them together.
Chris,
I made
Chad. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
So Chris and I, we do tag team that quite a bit as far as just the equipment piece of
Because I'm here to tell you, so I don't know. First of all, I refused to grow up, so I never did grow up anywhere. But Grandpa was a farmer and a carpenter, and Dad built houses. And then they always told me that I wouldn't be happy unless I had a steering wheel. So I ran off and got my trucking license, and did trucking. And then I'd build houses, and then I'd go trucking again and build houses. And sheds was always somewhere involved. But I know how hard it is to have owner-operators, have independent drivers, and have company drivers. You guys do it all at once.
We know there's a delicate balance because,
Yes.
and that's something, again, coming from Cook that was all corporate up until the time I left, and they were starting to kind of dabble in having independent contractors at that point. Daniel Massey and Chris Guidry, to name 2 that had come on independent gas guns. So we worked with them a little bit right before I left, but it was kind of then where I saw the need for both, and when I got over here and truly seeing a company that's trying to balance, at that time 2 years ago, we were still building.
Yeah, you were still
corporate.
kind of building.
Yeah,
that.
and still building the independent piece.
Yeah.
And Greg and Mike have this vision and of just having a hybrid model, if you will. We have corporate and independent, and they kind of live in sync, and we do a really good job of that.
Yeah.
That's something I can confidently say.
That's
that we do a
where
really good
their
job.
vision. I gathered from Greg. I didn't get to talk to Mike a whole lot, but I gathered from Greg that is the vision to keep both of them. That ideally it works best if you have both
If
options.
you have both of them, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's across. Well, you've been involved in all parts of the shed industry. It's across the board that way. There's, I know guys that are manufacturing and they're selling strictly online. They have no lots. And they're doing great. And I'm saying you're leaving something on the table. I know guys that have lots and don't do anything online. And I'm like, and they're doing great. And I'm saying, no, you're leaving something on the table. You guys see that in the hauling side too.
Right.
That it's important to. I like that, the hybrid model, that you can. If you have the right people in place, you can make it work on the hauling side. The hard part is to get people to understand that you're not trying to do one or the other.
Correct.
That is.
How do you go other than using motor mouth Sam? How do you get people to understand that that's what you're doing?
I think we do a really good job to communicating that. Like Wes and I worked a lot together when we're recruiting our new independent partners. Whoever decides it's like, hey, we want to make sure our corporate guys are fed. We want to make sure the independent guys are fed, and equally so, because we have to have both of them for this business to be successful.
Yeah, we'll address it on the front side. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked the question. I was like, are you guys going to 100% corporate fleet? And I'll say, no.
Nope.
People just assume that if you're doing one or the other in something, well, first of all, we know what assume does, but we do. It's people watch leaders. And then they try to figure out what they think the leaders are doing. So it's just a given that, I saw two Graceland semis the other day, they're going corporate, well, down there by us, there's two semis, there's a pickup truck, and every once in a while I see another pickup truck, and it's like, but I also understand that you guys have the other side, but for the average person, it's a little easy to.
Yeah. And for those that are already involved, or those that might want to be involved, I mean, like I said, they may see well, they're just going corporate trucks. But we just address that head on. I've told everybody for years now, and I know Ashley does the same thing. It's just, I don't ever see a world where it will be all corporate or all independent. It's going to be a hybrid. That's what we'll have, and it works.
It works.
It works really well.
If the hats off to you, because if you can make that work. I feel like you get a dual fuel engine. You're not just dependent on one or the other. You can just get so much more done. I bought a new generator. I'm a little bit of a prepper. I say that very carefully because people are, he's a prepper. The world's falling. No. But if the world falls, you might want to come see me. But so when I went to buy a new generator, I have a really big diesel generator that'll run not only my house, it would run all my shops, like everything if it really got bad. And I'm preppy enough that the generator's old enough that, if we have an EMP or something, it won't tear up my generator. It's an old diesel. It's going to run anyway. So I'm a little bit that way. But I wanted a new generator that I can kind of roll around fairly easy. We have ice storms, power goes out. We have wind storms, power goes out. So I went looking for a generator. So as you can well imagine, I don't buy just a gas generator. I buy a generator that takes gas, it takes propane, and it takes natural gas. So I have three options. And that's basically the way I look at life. You always need more options. And that's what you're doing in the trucking side. It's just, you do it in other areas too. This is just where we're having to focus on. So how do you one of the ways I asked you how you do that, how do you get the word out or whatever. You guys showed up at the bash.
We did
this year. So we got you to sponsor and host one, and this time, I was like, and that was my push for this bash. I hope I did a fairly good job at that. Like when we even sent the emails and stuff out, I don't want people's money. We have to have the money. It's a necessary evil to run them, but I want the support. Personally, I want people to show up. Y'all want to talk about your bash experience at all?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for October 2025.
Yeah, I know you already ask. You ask me all the time. And what's crazy? I've got other. You're not the only one that's asking me. I got some of the rent-to-own companies.
Well, we had just gotten to talk about it. I think when we started talking about it, like last October, November, I guess. I think Jason actually brought it to our attention. And then, man, that would be super cool if we could, get some people together and send a truck out there and have a booth ready. So we got with marketing, hey, these are our ideas. When you had worked with Jason for a potential sponsorship, I think is how it came about.
Yep.
And then it got in my hands, and I went to marketing, and hey, let's go.
Yeah.
and the rest is history. But that was incredible.
Yeah, it was a great
was
event.
incredible,
Enjoyed being there.
It was.
Yeah, it was cool to have y'all there. And the other thing we did is we got you guys involved with like some of the competitions and stuff. Did you have fun doing that?
I had a lot of fun doing that. So, which one were we judging? The ground level, I think.
I was going. You were doing the four cones.
yeah,
Which
the
one was
level.
the high point?
Yep, I totally missed that. I was way off. Yeah. No, I actually even admit that on this podcast.
And then
but
I
way off.
had fun. I acted like they had it all wrong when I did that, and they all looked at me like the dude's lost his mind. And I played it off like my wife was like, "I thought you were serious." I'm like, "Hey, if you're gonna, haulers, you're not gonna get much over on them." And I was like, "If you're gonna do it, you better be sold out to it and do it right." And they were like, "He has lost his mind. There's no way that one was there."
Yeah.
I
It was,
remember
it was
that.
fun. I enjoyed being over there because everybody that came over to,
Man,
they
all
were
the
they were
grounds
getting
looked
into
good.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
they were
yeah.
getting on the
Oh, yeah.
ground and
Oh yeah,
of
they're not
course,
going to do it halfway.
We weren't allowing any, measuring devices, but using the eyeball, getting on the ground, going to every single corner in the middle. And guys were having a great time with it. I thoroughly enjoyed, I was,
too.
just recording their answers basically.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed watching everything.
Yeah.
Well, they're like, "Come here, man. Come here. What do you think? What do you think? Come look at this." Yeah, that was super cool.
It is a lot of fun. I don't even know. People are like, "What's your goal with the bash?" And I used to be like, "Well, it was just to get guys together." I preached for years on the hauler page that competition is great. The best thing you can do is walk across the street and shake the hand of your competition and work together. And we've done that. The haulers have done that very well in the fact that it doesn't matter who breaks down in your area. If you break down and you need help, you're going to go help him. Even if it's the guy that, you're probably selling sheds against or whatever. It doesn't matter because there's a bigger picture. So I've always kind of said that's the biggest influence. But anymore, seeing the interaction with sponsors and getting to see people, get to know each other. And now we're far enough in where some of these guys are starting to build relationships. They see each other every time,
Yeah.
And I'll see them on Facebook, and outside of the hauler page, they're friends and they're talking to each other. And I'm like, how in the world do those two guys know each? Well, there's only one place.
All started at the bash.
They met up at the bash. It's kind of funny because social media still has this edge to it that you can almost tell when two people are going at it that they've never met each other. And then when they meet, something changes. So I'm all about having a social presence. Don't get me wrong. That's important. You got to have social media presence. But to follow it up and to get the personal experience with those people, that's huge to me. I feel like we could apply that more to corporate and to companies. Like you guys, do you get to travel any? Do you get to go meet your dealers? What do you?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
Unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. Flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that over-lease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.com. cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially in my role, I mean, I usually put on 50,000 miles a year
Nice.
on the coast. So
you get out a lot.
We get to go out, I
Yeah.
mean, meet drivers and dealers and scout new areas and just all sorts of things. But I love stopping by and just meeting people that I've never getting out of the office and getting a chance to the field and the office, and so that's encouraged around here too. Now, like saying my role, I have a little bit of that's an advantage I have. I get to meet more of them than what some others may.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
definitely an encouraged thing. And we do have quite a few people that will travel and get out and put a face to the name. They hear the voices. They talk to each other many times.
Yeah.
And then you get out and meet them, and maybe even get to some of their personal story and just get to know them better. And it's excellent.
That's nice. Yeah.
Even if you're like me, it takes you 6 times to see the face to remember what the name is.
Whatever
You get to travel too?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've,
In fact,
traveled
I
quite a bit.
asked you if you're going to be at the expo,
Yeah.
and your answer was you're going to be in my neck of the woods.
I'm going to be in your neck of the woods. Yeah.
So I think somebody should reschedule something there. That doesn't. It's like a double whammy to me. It's like
Well-
I'm not even going to be home when you're down there, and then you're not going to be at the expo where all of us are going to be. It's like,
I know. In my defense, I'll be there way before the expo. So, yeah.
oh, I hear you. Yeah. So, you get to travel a lot. That's part of your job.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you doing? You're just out meeting all your.
I'm going out, like Wes said, putting faces with names. And, if it's something that a driving company, I feel I'm very big on gut feelings. I think that's a God gift is gut feelings.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of prospects that I've called Wes. I'm like, man, I have a really good gut feeling. I just think if we can get in front of them, and put that.
Do you rabbit trail for a minute on gut feelings? We're all Christians. We talk about it. One of the guys, I don't remember who it was, somebody told me last night, they appreciate that I'm very open about that. And I'm like, well, that's what you get. This is my ministry. I joke around. I tell people all the time, I did prison ministry for 25 years, and then I got into the shed industry, and now I do shed ministry. These are the haulers. The haulers don't know it, but they're my prisoners.
Shh, we won't tell them.
Gut feelings. Do you ever notice that they're more accurate if you have a bad gut feeling or if you have a good gut feeling?
I don't know that my gut can tell the difference between. It's just a gut feeling, and it's usually pretty spot on, good or bad.
I'm glad she's
kinda
not calling
scary.
it women's intuition, or else we wouldn't have a shot.
Yeah,
we'd be done.
No, I truly
Because
believe that.
that's what my wife would say. She'd be like, "Told you so." My wife, and she'll tell you it's women's intuition because he doesn't have any. So here's the bad thing about me. I have bad gut feelings. I have the gift of prophecy, and I see stuff, and 90% of it is bad stuff. And nobody wants to listen to it. It's just a given. They don't want to hear it. So I really have to work hard on I'm a positive guy by nature as far as that goes. Like if I see something that needs fixing or done, I'm kind of willing to jump in and do it. That's fine. But I tend to see what's coming quicker on the bad side than I do the good side. That's why I was asking you that, because you took it to the good side. You said, I have a good gut feeling about this person, and you want to go meet them or whatever. So put you on the spot. Does your gut hold up pretty good?
It does.
It does.
It does. I'd say probably 98% of the time.
Is she right?
She's telling the truth. We've because like I say, she'll call me and say, "Hey, I got a feeling about this guy. We need to go meet him." Let's go.
So do you guys get to travel together much?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of times, we're going separate ways here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, there's many times that we'll get to go into the same area, and like you say, it's with what she's doing and an independent driver recruiting as one of her tasks. I mean, like I say, getting to meet people in person is a great thing. Actually going out and sitting in front of the potential hauler and going over rather than just. There's just that level of getting out there and working with them in person. Then
Huge difference.
You could tell them what you can over the phone, but
it's a
spending
huge difference.
that time and effort to actually go out and meet with them and so that's I will say we've been out a handful of times on that and well they're driving for us, right?
Successful. Yep.
As one of the
So put me on the spot. Did the bash help? Like, did you pick up any new faces? Because I told you I want my sponsors to feel like they get their money's worth.
New faces.
Or did you just get to kind of like build a deeper relationship with who you had?
It kind of had a dual purpose for us
couple.
being out there. Yeah, we were able to.
Both sides.
There were a couple of haulers that we were interested in talking to that we had caught wind would be at the bash, but then also knew there were a lot of guys that currently drive for us that would be also be at the bash.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is an opportunity we can go meet them and talk to them and build that relationship in person. But also potentially go ahead and start strike conversations with new haulers and we had a couple of successes out of the bash as well. So
Nice.
yeah,
it was
just a great
successful in that, and
experience.
there was, like I said, one driver company that we never had heard of or met before, and got to meet them there. They'd stop by and we all were chatting.
Yeah.
And now they do some hauling for us.
yeah.
Oh, really?
In
It was
Virginia.
cool.
And
That's cool.
Same thing. We kind of got to see others that maybe we've talked to but haven't got to see in a long time, or maybe we're in an area now that they're in.
And you guys had a company driver there?
We did.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Remind me of his name. I haven't met him 6 times yet.
His name's Barry. I'm going to refrain using his last name because I
Okay.
don't want somebody to steal him.
So his name's not really even Barry.
Now, wait a minute.
That's a
There was
cloak of disguise.
Wasn't there a Barry at dinner last night?
There is a Barry at dinner, yes.
Oh, see, y'all are just trying to confuse me.
Well, no, that's good. Now we have 2 Barrys. So okay.
Yeah, you got two. You got 2 of them.
But yeah, Barry is.
Well, now your boss man said that if you do a good job, you don't have to worry about your employees getting stolen.
True. I like to think that I do a pretty good job. I mean, he did come. He and I worked at Cook together. So if that says anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there's a connection.
there's a connection. Yep.
I was
yep.
digging for that, and I actually got it.
Yep.
I'm pretty good at some
Yeah.
days.
No,
Yeah, because you brought him. He came. Yeah,
He came shortly after I did. Yeah, we when I had left, and because of course I had a fleet group with Cook that
Yes.
I worked with
Yep.
for over a year, and Barry being one of them, and I had promised my former boss, but she's not with Leonard Cook now anyway. But I had promised her whenever I left that I wouldn't try to steal anybody.
Recruit.
Thank you. Recruit anybody.
I was gonna say there's a difference in stealing somebody and recruiting somebody.
Well, but
Because you can, if they come of their own good nature, that's I could go way out on a limb on that. That applies all the way across Shed. I mean, we could talk about builders, dealers, sales guys, everybody. I had a good talk with Greg about that. Treat your people right. You don't have to worry
don't have to
about
worry
it.
about them going
And at the end of the day, if you still have to worry about them, they're probably not the right people. I'm a pretty firm believer in that. People, the people that I don't worry about, I don't have to perform for.
touche.
And that's the day I figured that out for my personal life. That's the day my life made a whole lot more sense. If you're having to perform for people, here's your free nugget for the day, I guess. But if you have to perform for people to be friends with them, they might not be the right friends.
Right.
And it applies in work. It's I love what I see here, as any company. And I even hear it back through the grapevine about me, and I'm a one-man pony. There's nothing to this show except me. And I hear back stuff. I'm like, where in the world did you hear that? Where does that even come from? We hear it about. I hear it about all the big companies. And I hear it about some of the smaller companies. Even it's like Shannon has a good word. He said, you just go find out for yourself.
Yep.
Some days that's the best thing to do. And you guys actually invited me here. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Y'all must have had a bump your heads or something that day. And Shannon, sorry, buddy. So I'm having a really good week, or a really good couple weeks. Not only did I land his Graceland interview, but I also landed a sponsor that he's been working for. I can't talk about him yet because we don't officially have him on board, but it's somebody that's as important in the shed industry as you guys are. And when the ad comes out, it's going to be fun. We had a blast putting it together the other night. But it's sorry, buddy. I'm up 2-0 for the last 2 weeks on you. So where do you you're staying? I mean, like I asked you, I said I'd like to know where you're at, where you came from, where you're going. You're not going anywhere.
I can confidently say I'm not going anywhere. If I go anywhere, it's just continue to grow here.
Capacity. Grow here.
It's funny, I talking with Danielle. She's our corporate dispatch manager about 2 months ago, and it's like, what are your aspirations? And of course, like everybody aspires to be VP and eventually the top dog, if you will. And I'm like, I'm actually really happy where I'm at. Like, I think I've found my spot. Like, I'm happy. This is home.
Yes.
This is home.
It is. Well, like I say, like was said earlier, when you enjoy what you do, and I've always said something similar, everybody has to work. People need to make an income.
Yeah.
So you might as well do something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Because if you're just miserable doing what you're doing for a living, then you're probably in the wrong line of work. And I mean, 15 years in, I always say, give me 25 more. I'm not going anywhere.
That's awesome. Because I'm thinking of where I'll be in 25 years. I'll be coming up here in my wheelchair to see you.
Well, I think shed hauling, which I'm sure both y'all can attest to as well. Once it sinks its hooks into you,
oh, you're done.
You're done. Yeah, it's,
we watch guys leave. They come back.
They do.
And I get guys all the time on the hauler page. They're like, man, that guy doesn't even haul sheds anymore. Why is he on here? And I'm like, we've had a slogan on there for years. Once a shed hauler, always a hauler.
Yep.
And they'll probably come back because they always leave. They come back, or And the funny thing about it is they're more than happy to tell you they left, but they never tell you when they came back. They just all of a sudden they're back hauling.
They're back.
And I'm like, oh, you're back again now. I could name a whole bunch of names right now, but I'll be nice.
Yeah, we probably could name a few as well.
We just hired.
Well, sheds in general that way. I mean, shed hauling's that way, and just the shed industry.
The shed industry itself.
Like I say, it's just one of those.
What was that?
You heard that too? Sam, what was that?
Oh, that wasn't supposed to come out.
What
was it?
Sam?
I was given some confidential information. Not sure what I'm supposed to do now that you heard that, though.
Well, what was it?
Sam, you got to tell us.
Well, you can't tell anyone. But the Cardinal engineers, the mule guys, have been at it again. They heard all the haulers belly aching about a bigger machine. You know how they're always fussing about it ain't big enough? Well, guess what? They've got a bigger mule, a lot bigger.
What?
How about a mule with a 70 horsepower diesel engine that's built to move 40,000-pound sheds? You ought to see it. It's a real beast of a mule, and it's up to any shed challenge.
No way, Sam. A diesel donkey like you had? I mean, that's fantastic.
Yep, the diesel donkey like I used to have. Hey, there's a lot more stuff coming, but I've said enough. I'll get in trouble soon if I say any more.
Well, I think I talked to you last night a little bit. I told you, brief story of the my wife's pastor up in Chicago area. Right before we're getting ready to get married, he pulled me to the side. He said, "Now, what do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm in the shed industry. I build sheds." He goes, "Now you really think you can support her?" With of course he's suburbs of Chicago, so I just told him, I said, well, down south sheds means a little something different than than what you all are used to up here, but
So we're not going to put a lot like right outside of Windy City up there.
No plans on that right now. No plans. As soon as we get that drone delivery, I'll let you know. But I spent a lot more time on the building side. But I did. I remember being out there at the shop one day, and one of the haulers pulled up, and he's like, "Hey, my helper's sick today. Couldn't go with me." He goes, give you $100 to ride with me and drive my truck back, you know, because I mean, we were going far. I mean, it was, 4 hours one way to deliver a load, and so, he was going to drive up there with the load and I'll help him set it. And then he was going to catch some rest on the way back while I just drove it. And I said, sure. So I just jumped in the truck with him.
That's awesome.
We headed up into Missouri and,
Nice.
and just.
That's cool.
Then he handed me the keys. I said, all right, you're driving home. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Hey, I love being in the truck. One of my favorite places to be.
And on the mule. I know you
Oh my gosh, yes. I love the mule.
You were riding that
Love
mule
the
around
mule,
the Shed
man.
Bash.
I'm telling you.
I missed that.
Oh my gosh.
How did I miss
I
that?
don't know. I about ran over Jordan though. He's like, oh, watch out, woman on a mule.
I can't believe I missed that because you guys know Melody Troutman.
Yes. I don't know her personally per se, but I've talked to her a couple times.
I call her the Shed Hound. Because if you got missing sheds, she can
I've
find
heard she
them.
can find them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had some fun with, JD Perry had some fun with her at the Oklahoma barbecue. They do a competition where the women drive the mules to a
cool.
course. So Melody gets on there, but he takes his mule over with his remote. I should have done that with you. It is priceless.
What is going on?
I did it in the Georgia barbecue last year when somebody was out riding around on the thing. You can override it with the remote and then just like JD had her going everywhere and in circles and stuff, and she was just, what is going on? I'm losing. She was losing her mind over that thing. It's a lot of. So there are a lot of challenges in this industry, but it's a lot of fun. And I believe that. So back to what you said about if you enjoy what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. That's half of it. The other half of it is you have to have people. You have to have the right people. I've been in places where I was doing what I enjoyed doing, but not with the right people. That is not any fun whatsoever.
It's true.
And going out to eat with y'all last night, hanging out with you today, lunch and stuff. Hey, and we're going out to eat again tonight too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see people that like to work together.
Yeah.
How do you speak to that? What makes that work?
I think
I'd say it's just kind of.
we're all like-minded
It's almost like
individuals.
it's a lot of like-mindedness. It's there's a common core of not just Graceland and sheds, but a lot of common bond of faith and friendship, and it's almost like just extended family. I mean,
That's a good word.
it's
Yep.
yeah, you're working with your family pretty much. So.
And
I
you
couldn't agree more.
and it's I just want to reiterate again when you found out that Cook wasn't going to work anymore, and you think,
Oh, I was
gonna lose
heartbroken.
my good
I was
job.
heartbroken. It wasn't so much the work. I was
it
was
was
sad for it was the people I was leaving.
Yeah.
I had formed such a bond, and they had become so ingrained in my day to day. I spent obviously more time with them because I'm working than I did some days with my kids. So they had become such a family, and I'm like, oh no, like I'm not going to find that again. And now I'm like, wow,
So
It's awesome.
would have you ever come to work at Graceland if Cook was still going and you were still happy there?
I don't know. I don't know what God where He would have led me.
He'd have booted you out of there somehow or another.
Maybe. I do feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's something, I don't know. It was not a strange feeling per se. The peace that surpasses all understanding talks about in the Bible.
Yeah.
As soon as I walked in the doors for my interview, it was like this unbelievable peace I have never felt before when it came to a career. I'm like, this is it. And then the P.O. Box 642. And I'm like, now I know that's God.
I'm glad it was 642, not 666.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
She'd have been out the door.
And just,
Well, I'm pretty sure Mr. Daniel would have never put up with that in the
No.
first
Yeah.
place.
and just the general sense, we all have a common goal. It's of course we want Graceland to succeed, but we want to take care of our customers. But our customers aren't just the external customers, the ones who buy the buildings, right? We want to take care of the dealers. We want to take care of the haulers, the corporate guys, each other here in the office. Because it takes all of us. We can't succeed with, an I-minded, kind of like what Mike was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
With an I-minded personality,
Yeah.
and we're all forward thinkers. And
Well, there's that. You mentioned a little bit earlier about how's it work between having independent and corporate hauling. And we had talked about how we just talk about that up front, that we believe there's always a hybrid there. But I'll tell you, there becomes a hauling brotherhood even between the two of them. Of I've had independent hauler call me and said, hey, I was just driving by and I seen one of your trucks get his trailer stuck out there. I just pulled them out for you. I was like, hey, appreciate it. So there's just
absolutely.
It's all one. Like you said, just that if somebody's in need, whether they're working for the same company or a different company, or like I say, corporate, independent business. I mean, they're just, they help each other out if they're driving by and there's a need.
I think it boils down for me. That's the reason why the shed industry latches on to me so much, is the fact that we do have the common denominator of faith, of still wanting the best for each other, not just on the hauler side, but all the way across the board. Even the greedy builders. I got to get that in there just because. I'm sorry, I'm being sarcastic for those of y'all that don't understand sarcasm, but it's always the builders. They're the ones that are greedy. We hear it all the time. But Gideon Zook talked about that on his episode. That when they needed a pack of lumber, they'd go down to the other shop and get a pack of lumber, from the guy that was building sheds against them, And I'm like, yes, that's the way it should be, And we do. We pull each other out, especially if I'm driving a Ram and he's stuck with a Ford. I'll sure enough pull him out. I'll make him famous, or if he's broke down, I'll hook up to him,
That explains your post last night about the red Ford.
Yes. Now you got it. You figured it out. I'd rather push
I
it.
assumed it was something. That
I'd rather push a Ford than ride in it, and I had to ride in one. It's like.
Well, I tell you, we bought a Ford once.
True story. It's still running.
I don't know. We got rid of it long ago.
The response to that from my Ford guys is, "Oh yeah, I'm still driving it," and I'm like, "Then why is Ford the number one selling truck on the road? Because you got to keep having to buy more and more of them." No, it's good. I love what you guys are doing here. Love what you mean for the industry. It's kind of been cool to watch y'all raise up a little bit. Greg talked about it. He said, it's easy for a corporation to just get, I don't want to call it tunnel vision but just get focused on what you're doing in your day to day and not necessarily what's going on. And he wants that to change. He wants to be involved, even if, personally it's different for him. I'm going to get him on a podcast yet. You watch. I got to sit over there and talk to him for 2 hours.
I'm telling you, you could talk to the man and listen to the man for hours.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's definitely a visionary. Like, he wants to do everything what people are not doing. Everything everybody else is not doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, no, it was definitely fun to be able to sit and talk with him.
For sure.
And all of you guys, each one of you, it's different personalities, but everything's driven by the same goals, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of time in here. See, it's like we're already almost at an hour. It's like amazing.
Wow. Oh, wow.
It's amazing how fast
it's so quick. And I was kind of wondering that,
am I going to run out of stuff to say?
Yeah.
No, it's like, and then all of a sudden you're like, I could get a second steam and we could go for a while, and then you end up with a Sam Byler episodes that goes into 2 full episodes. But it's just, what do you put out there for guys that are thinking about, they'd kind of like to do a podcast, be on it, but they're like, nobody wants to hear from me. I don't have anything to say. You got anything you want to put out there for people like that? Like, is it hard to do? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was hard at all.
Yeah,
it's but like I say, I was kind of wondering. I've never done a podcast, so I was like, okay, well, how's this going to run?
I haven't either, but I knew we'd be talking about sheds, so at that point I knew I'd have no problem talking.
True.
And hauling.
I could talk about sheds.
Yes,
Hauling and sheds. I mean,
we didn't even. We could talk about building and sales. You do all that. We could get into all that. So that gives. I'm trying to get a second invite out of this deal, and you guys aren't catching on. It's
I thought we discussed that already. I told you I was coming out your way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
See.
So what you doing next week?
Right.
Yeah, come on. No, definitely. Anytime.
What do
Come
you
back.
see from y'all's perspective? Not Graceland, but from you guys personally, what do you see in the future of the shed industry? Like, does it bother you that we're a little bit slower right now? Do you think that's going to shake out and be fine? What's your mental attitudes?
I'm really not bothered by it. It ebbs and flows every 2.5, 3.5 years. So we're just in that 3.5 year mark. It will pick back up. I do see probably some consolidation happening in probably the next 6 to 10 months, and maybe sooner than that. Just depends on what happens with the economy. But I like what we're doing, and I know you asked for my personal, but also from a company
Oh
standpoint.
no, that's fine. Yeah.
I really like what we're doing, especially with our leaders in place and with the forward thinking that, like Greg had talked about earlier, the strategies that we've been working on for 5 years, and really excited to see where we'll be in 5 more years, because I think we're going to be just a powerhouse. So.
Right. No, I would agree. I mean, all things are cyclical, and you face an economic time that we're in where inflation is high and money gets a little tight for people, but all things go in a cycle, and I think it's just a time like this is just a time where there's more due diligence to dig in and make sure you have proper planning and
Thank you.
focus.
Yep.
And with Greg's vision and others for the company and things to come, and it's not just Graceland, like I said, for everybody. I mean, it's I don't worry about. Well, we mentioned it yesterday that as long as people have stuff, they're always going to need a shed,
Right.
and as long as they get more stuff, they're going to need another shed. I don't worry about an industry that we're in just being one that isn't to come down the road. There'll always be a need, but yeah, you get in these times and it just drives a focus to make sure you're properly planning and setting yourself up for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the companies who've done that, I'll obviously speak for us, companies who have properly prepared and began strategizing in preparation in the event of something like a down economy happening.
Yeah.
I think will be who you see.
I've heard the word soft a lot lately. It's not that it's really down. It's just soft. People, I still see people spending money. They're just more careful what they're spending it on right now. And like I did an interview with Jason Graber with Shed Suite a couple weeks ago, and he said it's the fact that you have to go back. You have to know how to sell. You can't just write an order. When you're going through the other side of the cycle, you can literally just about give somebody a stack full of papers in a couple buildings and just say, write up the orders. And, well, we're back to selling sheds again. And some of us are very good at it. And we can sell sheds. And, do your due diligence. Keep track of it. It's good. Anything you want to add in closing? Something far out there? Anything at all?
I could think of a bunch of things far out there, but I'm not sure people want to hear about them.
You can tell me tonight at dinner. I want to hear these.
No, I'm so glad that you came to see us.
Good.
I'm so glad you came to see us. I've been looking forward to it. So
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this for a while.
I know, a few months now in the making. Yeah, it's like, hey,
That's all
this
good.
week I'm busy. How about you? No, I'm free. And then, hey, about this week I'm busy.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and I've really enjoyed it. Looking forward to even some more good times.
Yeah, I'd reiterate that as we've enjoyed having you out here, and let's make it happen again sometime.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I mean, it's just
So we always give opportunity for if anybody wants to get a hold of you. Do you want any information out there as far as if there's haulers out there looking for you, or if you have dealers that we're always looking for new partnerships and stuff. How does do I just Google Graceland.com?
You could. that would get probably our parent line. But no, my corporate cell is 270-445-0177. So anybody's wanting to haul or wanting to discuss hauling, any partnership information, pricing, whatever. Not pricing, but
Do it one more time because I got half of it in my head.
That's 270-445-0177.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as
Best way to get a hold of you is through her.
Maybe because I'm usually, hey, Wes.
Wait a minute. That's not what you call him.
Oh, Oh, my bad. Westifer.
I learned a new name today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now I got to
Westifer.
keep track of 2 names.
Oh my word! No, I'll call you Brad
There you go. There you go.
or Chad.
Or
Yeah,
Chad.
Chad or Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah, any potential dealers that want, GracelandPortableBuildings.com. There's they can go on and
Okay.
we get leads through there, people
Yeah,
that are
okay.
interested in
Cool.
and
And you guys are
Get
still
set up,
expanding.
so-
You're still looking for new
Oh, yeah.
business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up. If I don't, Shannon's gonna split it and make me do it twice. So I don't really want to get that far in this time. But thank you guys so much for being on, and all you guys out there, thank you for listening today. As always, Sambassador, your host with Friday Fun Days, and also don't forget you can find the Shed Geek. Oh boy, where do you find the Shed Geek? ShedGeek.com, but Shannon always wants me to make sure you know that the email has a newsletter, so read the newsletter. We always try to get your links in there. We'll post some pictures in there and stuff. So thank you so much for listening to us today. I hope you guys have had a great day. Till next time, see y'all.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.